realize is, and a lot of people look at me goofy when I
It's
tell them,
crazy.
but oh, oh, um, what you have
That's
to
my
realize,
husband, y'all.
huh?
That's my husband, y'all. He's in
Oh,
finance, so he's listening to everything.
oh, well, he can hop on if he thinks what I'm saying is wrong. I mean, I have no problem with that. Um, but what you have to realize is also inflation. So as things go up, the value of your dollar actually is not going to be the
He said
same.
you dead ass wrong. Not you wrong. He said you dead ass wrong.
Well, I mean, he can hop on. I mean, we can talk about it. I mean, drop the link. He can come.
Drop the link.
Capital gains taxes on income come from these stocks that make money. Yeah, and what's your point? I mean, you can hop on. I mean,
Be
Yeah,
like, all
man.
right,
Let's drop
yeah.
this link, man. Alex, get up out the brown chair. Let Cuzzo get in the chair.
no, he can hop on. I mean, let him
Cause
hop
it's
on.
just it's about edification. Cause it's only our. I mean, I don't want to say only us, but it's mostly us watching, right? So,
Hop on.
I think it's very important because, just asking for the clarification matters. Eddie, what's up?
Yeah, so I just want to throw in there that yes, like some of the things that B is sharing are very complex. And just working with our people all the time. I think the concept of just getting saving down, right? So if you've ever grown up in the hood in America, anywhere or anywhere on earth, like you know about the concept of susus, right? And like allowing a collection of monies to be put together and you keep dropping in it. And then after 6 to 8 months, the money is made available to you. You don't have to take it. But you're looking at, let's say if your goal is 10,000 to 15,000, 20,000, you provide that level of financial discipline, right? Um, and that's one of the things that I would say is a little more consistent to where we can introduce a lot of the financial tools that B was talking about. Like I understood everything that B was saying, but I also invest. I'm also a trader. Like when I have the time, like, and it's taken me a long ass time to learn the financial markets, all those crazy ass numbers and charts that you see. Like that shit is an entire language in itself, right? So we're looking at the simplicity and complexity of black people. It's like you have to be able to present this shit in a way where it's just like, all right, you can't just drop ETF on me and be like, oh
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Like, nah,
Right.
like very simple concepts, defining what the fuck the stock market is, defining where you could put your money in, money markets, all these other things, right? I did the same thing. I took some time to understand loans, student loans,
Oh
right?
shit.
And how predatory student loans are, and making sure that I understood what the hell, like, y'all blowing me up about this and that. And I was on the phone clearly with a white woman. And I told her just like, majority of the money that y'all loan doesn't even really exist. So do I really owe y'all anything, right? Because we know the U.S. prints money out of thin air. And this white woman hung up on me. She was just like, I'll get back to you. It was just like, man, my personal business, I haven't made a payment since. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's one of those things where it's just like you understand and you learn the game and they can't fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
one of those things. But I think I'm gonna let the Nigerian brother. I think he's Nigerian. I saw that I did. So I'm like, he gotta be Yoruba or something. Igbo. I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah. First off, I don't know everything about investing, but we got to get out this mentality that we got to get this mentality that it's too difficult for us to learn. Anybody can learn anything. You can't just put race on it. That's the first thing. Secondly, I heard I guess, what was it? Electronic traded fund?
Yeah.
It's exchange traded fund.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
So those can be a combination of stocks, and it's not a. I'm not saying that as a shot, but like, you know, say one that I had was QQQ. I think that was Nasdaq based.
Yeah, that's
That was a whole bunch of companies. Like I think it was like Apple, Microsoft, maybe Dick's Sporting Goods. It's like a whole bunch of things. So look into those, and then a good way to do that is dollar cost averaging. So like, say if you have a Robinhood account, right? Because all the other brokerages don't always allow this, but say every 2 weeks you just put in, say, $100. 1 week it might be a little bit higher. Like 3 weeks from now it might be a lot lower. You know, get what I'm saying? So, you know, you're kind of balancing out what you're putting in. So you might not necessarily always make money on the returns, on initial investment, but it'll kind of balance out over time. And then once the stock market does shoot back up, because it's like shit right now, then you'll have something to show. But the reason I brought up taxes is, say if you're taking out money from your brokerage account for like a rainy day, it's not a bad thing. But say if you make money on that, you're gonna have to pay capital gains on that.
Yeah, now that is true. Yes, that is something I did left out. If you do have stocks, blue chip stocks or whatever, when those funds when those funds settle, you will have to pay taxes on it. I did forget to say that.
What's the tax rate on those?
Shit,
I'm not quite sure about that.
But is it high?
Tax rate depends on your state. It also depends on what you gained. So there's always a percentage depending on how much money you made, which is a part of also scam, right? Like they want to dive into your pocket, which they really shouldn't.
Hold on. So, just break it down for the people, like specifically. So, is that tax rate on those gains lower or higher than it would be for like on your W-2?
It probably would be lower, honestly, just because you're in the space of free enterprise, right? And Alex Husband, if you could, correct me if I'm wrong, but
that's your name, bro.
I feel like you're on the right line. Say if you sell like $6,000 worth of stock hypothetically, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Something came up. Say at the end of the year, you might have to pay. That could move you up a tax bracket in certain cases. So you're going to count that as income.
Right. So they're monitoring that, and then they're looking at, okay, what has this person gained through all 4 quarters of the year? And if you made any significant gain, it's just like it's already being tracked, and it's going to receive some sort of tax on it, but it's not ridiculous and significant to, let's say, you work in a 9 to 5. And most people don't take the time, or they don't know that. And obviously your job is not going to share that with you because they want you to continue being a worker bee, right? But the space of free enterprise in the stock market is just like, there's so many avenues to make money that either slightly gets touched through taxes or doesn't get touched at all. And we haven't even discussed, not savings. B said that there's another means where you could put your money and it doesn't get touched. You know what I mean? Like life insurance, for example.
Like a CD.
A trust, that's the word. A trust. There's a I something account where you could drop about 10,000 on that, and it capitalizes pretty significantly over time. I think they let you hold money on there for like 3 years or whatever, and by the time you get it out, you got a good $20,000, possibly $30,000, and you just let that money sit. Right.
But again, the stats say if only 40% of people, it got to be lower for our people, right? So
dramatically lower,
right? What percentage, and we will just guess it for right now. What percentage of so-called black people do you think have 3 months worth of savings?
If I'm somewhere random and I'm talking to people and I'm actually mentioning it, what you'll notice is like, oh, it's good that you do that,
give me an answer. We got
it's
10 people up
low though, just because like we already have like barriers. Some of these people have not necessarily old money, but they had a basis where they were actually able to build something.
Yeah, but for our people, right? Because we're talking about investing and in like these long-term trusts, right? But how many people can afford to put a bulk of their money to where they can't touch it for 3 years? You see what I'm saying? Of our people,
it's real low,
right? That number is I would imagine that number is very low. It's definitely lower than 50%, probably lower than 40 or 30. But Alex Husband did hit on a great point. He said that people they've had an advantage. And I think he's referring to the white folks, and that actually is true. If you know anything about white culture, they've had stocks that's been passed down to them. They've had those ETFs that have been passed down to them, that old money that's been passed down to them. So when I talk to them bastards, and we're talking finances and things like that, I tell them, do know, and this is real, I'm being funny, but this is real. Wealth gap is real. There's a $240,000 wealth gap difference between whites and blacks because they've always had that advantage. So then they're coming along and they're looking down on us. But like I tell them motherfuckers, you know, you've had that advantage. You've had someone to leave money to you, stocks to you. This is shit that's been educated to them. If you walk up to a random white person, you talk to them about stocks or whatever, they know this shit randomly. Average black person, some of us just don't know that because we've never been taught that. So he did, Alex's husband did hit on a very good point. Houses are sold to whites differently than it is to blacks. Cars are sold differently to whites than it is to blacks.
Cars are appreciated. We don't got to worry about
that. Yeah, cars do appreciate, but I'm just using, but right. But I'm just using that as an example. So that is what I do tell whites. Do know that y'all have had that advantage that blacks have not always had. So, you know, the wealth gap is real. They've had that advantage. We've never had that. We've never been taught this.
For them, you know. So it is what it ought to be, man. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Oh, and we out.
We